Welcome to our preparing for Campinar tonight. Thanks for joining us. My name is Travis Adams. I am our men's staff director here at Camp Uwani, and thanks for carving out time tonight. This is a neat time to really sit down and make sure that you are ready for camp. I want to start tonight off with a little story. This past weekend, I went on a men's retreat with my father-in-law, Mr. John Mark, and this is a picture of John. And I love my father-in-law. He is an amazing man. But on Friday night, we had a bonfire. And towards the end of the bonfire, one of the speakers that was there, actually a pastor, started egging guys on to walk over the coals of this bonfire. And of course, I didn't think anybody would do it. Well, next thing I know, I look over and my father-in-law is proceeding to take off his socks because he said, "Man, I just really feel like I want to do this." And I said, "John, you're going to burn your feet. You're crazy. Do not walk across that fire." And before I know it, lo and behold, he runs across the coals of this fire safely onto their side. And as soon as he gets over there, he turns around and goes, "Woohoo!" And thankfully, his feet were not burned. And he was so excited. And so why do I tell this story? Well, two reasons. One is first to let you know that your children will not be walking across coals this summer. We'll make sure that, and the only risks they will be taking are 100% safe. But also, my goal is tonight is for when we get done with this Campinar, for you to really be like, "Woohoo! I'm ready for camp. I'm prepared," so that you can have a very meaningful experience on opening day and then throughout your child being at camp. So I want you to close your eyes and think ahead and just imagine yourself being at Camp Uwani on opening day. It's your first summer. You check in, you get to your cabin to unload your stuff, and you open your trunk. And when you open your trunk, you realize that you are the only parent in the cabin that has not marked on their child's belongings. You didn't take a Sharpie and write their initials on their socks and their underwear, et cetera, et cetera. And now you look up and you're spending the next 30 minutes marking your child's belongings and clothes. And so, the good news is we're going to have Sharpies in the cabin just in case you haven't marked your child's clothing. But wouldn't it be awesome if you would have marked your child's belongings before you came to camp, so that you can see this beautiful picture here. You can spend that 30 minutes intentionally with your child, enjoying camp, enjoying the campus, meeting their friends, instead of having to do the tedious task of marking their clothes. So tonight, you want to be, we're having this so you can be well prepared and really enjoy that time with your child, especially if it's their first year at camp. So I've come up with 7 things to remember if you are to be prepared for camp. Number 1, use your camp packing list. I woke up, I guess it was yesterday morning, and it was my birthday. I turned 34. And as you can see in this picture, I was handed my 12-week-old son, Barrett Clark Adams, and he had written me a letter. It said, "Happy birthday, Daddy." And that was really, really cool. Great gift for my birthday, obviously. And this summer, your kids are going to have the same opportunity. They're going to have the opportunity to write you a letter. And so part of that packing list is to make sure that you bring pre-addressed, pre-stamped envelopes for your kids, so that it's super easy for them to send you a letter back home. That's a neat way to communicate with your kids. But make sure you look at in detail, check off your packing list that we provided in your preparing for camp packet. Number 2, mark all your clothing. We talked about that, but you would be amazed at the things your kids leave on the hike, or they leave at the critter pond, or stuff that they just leave out. And if we don't have their initials, or preferably their first name and last initial, it is so hard to keep up with that. So please help us out That'll make sure your kids not only have their stuff to use during camp, but they also bring it home. Number 3, 2 big items that I really recommend that you bring. Number 1 is a battery-operated fan, and number 2 is a water bottle. So you can imagine being a camp director if we had 150 individually uh, plugged in fans at camp. It doesn't go too well with our electrical circuit. In fact, it shuts it down. So you can't bring plug-in fans, but you can bring battery-operated fans. We've made a recommendation in your Preparing for Camp packet. I believe it's a Ozone Cool fan on Amazon. Make sure and bring enough batteries. The good news this year, we actually finished installing power fans in all the cabins. So they've got really big, powerful fans that keep the cabins relatively cool both day and night. So they'll have those big fans in there already. But bring a battery operated fan if they just want to have one for them at nighttime, and make sure they bring batteries. And then secondly, water bottles. We preach and we just chant and cheer hydration, hydration, hydration. So you can see here, if you go to the camp store on the homepage of the website, click on the top right where it says Camp Store. And you can buy actually this Campione Nalgene water bottle on our camp store website. You can buy it before camp, or if you show up at camp, you can just pick one up at the trading post, which is our camp store. The Nalgene bottles are great. They're very, very durable, and this holds I think it's like 32 ounces. Make sure you bring a water bottle, and that will keep your kid healthy and hydrated. Number 4. Directions to camp. Now, the great thing about Camp Uwani is we are this little safe haven of a location tucked in the piney woods, okay? The not so great thing is that we are not easy to find, which is kind of how we like it, but we need you to get there on opening closing day. So one way to do that, on our homepage, if you scroll to the very bottom, it says directions. There's a directions link. Click on that link, and from all parts of Texas, and if you're coming from out of state, you will go through either Dallas-Fort Worth, Shreveport, Austin, or Houston areas. We give specific directions on getting there. We'll try to email that out to y'all before y'all head to camp. But if you're driving in the car and you're halfway there and you know you're heading the right direction, but you're like, I'm not sure if it's in Timpson or what town it's close to, go to the website on your phone, scroll to the bottom of the front page on our homepage and click on directions, and that'll get you to camp. Also, just a warning of note, if you go to Google Maps right now, it has our location in Henderson, which is not correct. We are in Timpson, Texas, where Highway 87 and Highway 59 intersect. We're about 7 miles southeast, I believe, of Timpson. And so make sure you check the directions page. Hopefully by the summer, Google will update our location. Number 5 is really, I want to encourage y'all to get familiar with your Camp and Touch account. You have at your fingertips access to your Camp and Touch account, which is the back end of our website, which is really, really, really great. And let me kind of walk you through that. So I would encourage you to do this today, this week, in the next couple weeks before camp starts, and just get familiar with it, because it's going to make your experience as a camp parent so much more enjoyable. So here's how you do it. You go to the homepage, you can see here, and at the top right, there is a button that says Login. That is our parents' login button. You click that, and this big brown box will pop up where you put your email and your password, and then you hit the big red login button. If you forgot your password, just click Forgot Password there. Now, once you get in, this is what it's going to look like. There's a lot of neat stuff that you have access to, and some of the big ones that I would really point you to under online community is email. So it says email your camper. This is really cool. Now, if you will send your child, if you'll send an email before 10 a.m. each day, except for Sunday, we will actually print out at lunchtime your child's email. So it might just be a note of encouragement, say, hi, we miss you. This is what's going on at home. You can send your child an email. You also, if you pay, I think, an extra stamp, I think it's $1 an email or something. If you pay it maybe $1.60, I'm not sure. But if you pay an additional $1 or an additional stamp, you can see up there at the top right, it says camp stamps. you can do what's called our fax back option, which we'll print out an extra page that allows your child to write you back. We fax it, it gets rerouted back in your email. It's really, really impressive. It's a crazy technology. But that's another option that you have, so that instead of sending snail mail, you can send a fax back email that gets that your kid actually writes on. And then just be of note on that whole fax back option. We really encourage the kids to write something. Sometimes they're so plugged into what's going on at camp, they don't want to write, parents, and I know parents don't like to hear that. But we're just like, hey, just write something short and sweet, and draw a picture or draw a smiley face to let your parents know that you're okay. So hopefully they will send those back. It's not a guarantee, but it's a neat feature. And then also another very much used part of Camp in Touch is this photos. You can see, check out our photo gallery. Each day we will post dozens and dozens of photos. We try to get pictures of every child every day. It doesn't always happen, but we do our best. And if you even see a photo of your child or a photo that you like, you can order that photo and add it to your cart and purchase it, and even have the picture before your kids get home. It's pretty neat. But really, really try to spend some time, 20 or 30 minutes, logging into your Camp in Touch account, kind of just browsing around and seeing, how it works. So when camp gets here, you can hit the ground running and be plugged into camp. So number 6 is have confidence in your child's ability to manage the challenge of being away. Some of y'all, it's your first time away. Maybe some of you it's not. But one of the neat things I'm going to be actually talking about and blogging about every day is just some commentary on this book that Dr. Michael Thompson wrote called Homesick and Happy: How Time Away from Parents Can Help a Child Grow. And it's got some great insight, really, even just about if homesickness may be an issue with their child, how to handle that. And I'm going to be talking about that throughout the summer through my blog. But just to kind of give you a quick preview of the content of the book and how that might spur on some conversations before camp gets here. Michael Thompson says, I believe that at many points in their children's lives, parents need to step aside, ask other adults to take over, and even send their children away in order to help their offspring become loving, productive, moral, and independent young adults. So really just have those conversations. If it has to do with homesickness, just let your child know, hey, it's normal. It's a great opportunity for you, and you're going to grow a lot through it. But just have those conversations, and that book does that. If you want to copy this book and you don't have one already, or we didn't send you one, just reply to this blog post that I'm going to put up. And just hit a reply at the bottom and say, hey, send me a book, Travis. I want a copy of Homesick and Happy. Can't wait to see you this summer. And I will actually mail you a book before camp, and we'll make sure you get one. And then finally, number 7 is follow the camp blog. That's actually our news page. So if you're not familiar with the term blog, news, if you go to our website, go to campuani.com/news, or you go to our homepage and there's a tab at the far right that says news. Click on that, and you can follow our camp blog. I had dozens of families and camp moms and dads last year that said that the daily blog was so helpful. They felt more connected with camp and more plugged in with what's going on at camp than they ever had before. And so I try to blog almost every day. We'll keep you up to speed on what's going on. And even some of the neat things that go on behind the scenes, and how kids are growing and learning and having fun and just really growing in friendship, that kind of stuff. That really allows you to be more plugged in and more tuned in to the camp experience that your child is actually going through. It's really, really neat. So, in fact, when you go to the news page, there is a little button that says subscribe via email. Go ahead and click on that and put your email address in. And that way, when I post a blog post, you will automatically get an email saying, "Hey, Travis just posted an update." Click on it. You're sitting at work, and you can be up to speed on what's going on at camp right from your computer at work or at home. All right, we are now to our question and answer section. What's on your mind? So if you would, you can either ask it here or you can type in your question on your GoToMeeting message text tool on your right. You can post it on our Facebook page or you can tweet it to @CampUwani. And we're going to take questions here for a minute and just let us know. We want to hear from you. All right, looks like we have a question from Michelle. Michelle, let's see. She is asking. I have a 6.5-year-old child. We've yet to sign up for camp, but we'd like to. Is 6.5 too early? And then also, if I sent her 1 week, would session 1 or session 4 be better? Great question, Michelle. 6.5. We definitely have 6-year-olds come. We actually have 6-year-olds that are coming this summer for 2 weeks. That's not uncommon. Usually, kids start at 6 or 7 at Hawani. So I would say if your 6-year-old is fairly independent as a 6-year-old, they're going to be fine, especially for 1 week. I mean, 1 week goes by really quickly, and they're so busy. A lot of times they have a hard time even worrying about homesickness. But yeah, if they are fairly independent as a 6-year-old, they're going to be fine. And I would make the statement that if a 6-year-old who is first time away from camp does many times better than a 12-year-old that's never been away from home, and so I think that'd be great. And one of the things that I want to make sure parents know for the younger kids that we do, we say we have a 3-to-1 camper counselor ratio, which is true. But we also have in our younger cabins, the cabin camper to counselor ratio is actually lower, which is great. So they almost have their own personal counselor. If we have 9 girls in the youngest cabin, we'll have 5 girl counselors. And so they get a lot of attention, a lot of time and attention. And, a 6-year-old obviously has, brushing your teeth is an adventure sometimes. So we have more help for them. And as far as session 1 or 4, I would say either one of them is great. I mean, unless you have a financial restrictions, I would actually recommend 2 weeks just because they kind of get to meet their friends a lot of times for lifetime friends their first year at 6 or 7. But if you're going to come to 1 week, I don't think it really matters. Depending on your schedule, I might say maybe go to session 1 just because it's right out of the box for the summer for us and for our staff and for camp. But session 1 would be equally as great. But if you can go session 1, I'd say go session 1. All right. Any other questions? Okay, Michelle has another question. Great question. Michelle asked, how do you handle discipline? Specifically, if a child doesn't want to go to an activity or they just sit on their hands and their knees, what do you do? How do you handle that? Great question. So discipline at camp, you'd like to think that every single cabin sings Kumbaya and everybody gets along from day one. That happens a lot, but not all the time. And so kids can be kids. So, I would say from a broad perspective, first and foremost, we do very, very in detail instruction and training. We do role play, all kinds of stuff with discipline for kids. So that's something we definitely handle. A lot of our counselors have been working at camp for a while, so they know how to handle it very well. Even the new ones are trained very extensively. So we certainly don't spank kids. We don't do that. But specifically, how would we handle like that, those types of situations? So we really do a couple things. One is we really want the child to think through it, so we really want to engage them on a conversation. And I would say even 6 and 7 year olds, they are very. You would be amazed how intelligent those kids are, and even to think critically through a problem that they're going through. So we really, if I'm a counselor, I've done this before. Uh, you sit down with them one on one, obviously in a group setting, and you have a conversation. You say, hey, you know. Help me understand what's going on and really get them to verbalize what they're feeling, what the problem is. For our staff, we try to get to, kind of what's the why behind the why. It may just be that they're in a bad mood and they didn't like breakfast, or, one of their friends said something to them and they're distraught over it. So we try to get to the core of the issue right away. And 9 times out of 10, helping them understand, hey, this is what you're feeling, validating that in the child, empathizing with them, and then encouraging them to take the next step, which is why they should go with their group to activity 2. They don't want to move. So 9 times out of 10, once they know that they're understood, they're going to listen to their counselor. The other thing that we do proactively on the front end before that ever happens is really be intentional about trust, so that the campers are really respecting and looking up to their counselors. And that's by getting to know, they look at their counselors as cool, kind of a little bit older than them, not their parents, but apparently figure that they trust. And so really having the counselors be intentional about getting to know them, including them and stuff, and then also just loving them well. The very first night of camp, we do cabin time, and there's several things we go through with the kids so that they feel loved, accepted, protected, and all that good stuff. And so that when we get to the point where they don't want to go to activity period 2, uh, they they want to please their counselor, and do the right thing. So great question on discipline. If it ever gets severe, we'll bring a director into the scenario or the circumstances. And then, if it's really bad, certainly we're going to call the parents and let them know. But that usually doesn't happen. We usually kind of squash it right there, and camp moves on, and they get plugged in. Any more questions from our parents? Any questions you guys have? Okay. Just a few more questions that we get ask a lot from parents, just that maybe help some of y'all. What do kids need to pack, um, that are really important, or some things that we wish we would have remembered to bring. For girls, for specifically, I'd say rain boots. Whether that's a water activity like a hike through the creek, or if it's walking to breakfast. I mean, there's dew on the ground, and girls don't like getting their feet wet. Um, plastic rubber boots are great for girls, and boys don't care as much, obviously. But just having maybe chacos or water shoes or something for boys, and girls, but just something where they're gonna, I would definitely bring 2 pairs of tennis shoes if you can, because one usually stays muddy and wet, and the other is maybe a nicer pair that stays dry. Uh, Other items I wish I would have, a headlamp would be great for night activities if they're walking to and from the initiation pond, or going hiking or something, or going on a little trip where it might be a little dark. That would be good to have. And then hammocks are kind of popular at camp. We sell, or we sold Eno hammocks, but that's fun to have in the cabin, uh, or to have with if your cabin does something outside. And then also, let me think here. Just like games or books or something to have downtime during rest period. Right after lunch, we have rest period, and so just having something for the kids to for your child to have, just to kind of pass the time or do something with their cabin mates. After a few days, a lot of them, they'll start taking naps, so they won't need anything. And that's also where like stationery or pre-addressed envelopes and stamps um, would come into play, so they can write letters in rest period back home or to their friends. Um, Let me think. Other questions? Any other questions out there? Let me think of some other ones that sometimes I ask. Any other questions? All right. Well, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Camp is close; it's around the corner. We're excited to meet you and see you when you get to Camp Uwani. And again, I just want to remind, first of all, thank you guys for joining the call. Remind y'all two things. One, again, if you want a copy of Homesick and Happy, the book, I will personally mail that to you. If you will just post it to this blog or the blog that we're going to post up on the Preparing for Camp, just hit the little reply button at the bottom of the blog post and reply to me. Say, hey, Travis, send me a book, and we'll get one to you. Also, subscribe to the blogs, which is the news page. Subscribe to it. And you can see here, go to campuwani.com/news, and then click on the little icon that says subscribe via email or RSS feed. But if you subscribe via email, you'll get that. And I'm going to start blogging even before camp starts, and you'll get an automatic email. But thank you again. It's a super honor to be entrusted with your child's care this summer and their experience at summer camp. And we are so excited to do life with them and to watch them grow right in front of our eyes. But we will see you in the Piney Woods.